Ever practice English every day, but your IELTS speaking score just won't budge past a band 5 or 6? It's maddening, like you're stuck in language quicksand.
That's exactly what so many students tell me, especially when they feel like their spoken English is pretty good, but the examiner clearly thinks otherwise.
Today, we're pulling back the curtain on the 7 biggest speaking mistakes sabotaging your IELTS results, and, more importantly, how to fix each one right away.
We'll break down the sneaky traps like memorized answers, the dead-ending one-word replies, grammar overload, and more. We'll show you how to dodge these, sound natural, and boost your score.
Plus, we'll give you clear examples, what not to say, what to do instead, and quick tips you can steal for your very next practice. Let's dive right in.
Let's kick off with a classic, memorized answers. It's tempting to prep a script and hope the examiner doesn't notice, but they spot it a mile away.
I hear so many students sound almost robotic. My favorite hobby is playing football because it is good for health. No personality, no life.
Exactly. The fix? Make your answer a bit messier, more personal. Try, I'm honestly obsessed with football. It helps me unwind after a stressful week. See how that feels real?
So, bottom line, ditch the script. Let a few natural pauses or mistakes in, and show a bit of you. That's what impresses the examiner. This next trap is deadly. Short answers that just kill the flow. Like, the examiner asks, "Do you enjoy reading?" And you go, "Yes, I do." End of story.
And the examiner just waits, awkwardly. But they're hoping you'll say more. The fix here is the answer plus reason plus example formula. For instance, yeah, I love reading because it lets me escape. For example, last week I finished a mystery novel in one sitting.
It takes the pressure off. You're not just answering. You're building a conversation. Try it with any question. You'll instantly sound more fluent.
Here's a mistake I see all the time. Students freeze up, terrified they'll make a grammar slip. So they pause, and lose their fluency score.
Honestly, the examiner doesn't want perfect grammar. They want to hear you communicate naturally. A few little errors are totally fine.
If you mess up a tense or word, just keep going. Focus on keeping your ideas moving. Fluency matters way more than perfection.
So next time you catch yourself overthinking, just breathe out and focus on the message, not the grammar checklist. Let's talk about linking words. Answers without them sound choppy, like, "I like music. It is relaxing. I listen every day."
A little glue goes a long way. Throw in connectors like, actually, to be honest, or, for example, and suddenly, your answer flows.
So instead of 3 robot sentences, you get, "Actually, I like music because it's relaxing." For example, "I listen every morning to feel energized." Smooth, right?
Practice sprinkling those linking words in. They help the examiner follow your ideas, and your speech will sound miles more natural. One pitfall that cracks me up is students straining for a British or American accent. It ends up sounding forced or, worse, unclear.
Clarity beats accent every single time. If the examiner understands you easily, that's a win. Forget sounding like you're from London or LA.
If you're clear, even with a bit of your own accent, you score well. If you confuse the examiner, not so much. So focus on pronunciation, not imitation.
A simple tip: slow down a tiny bit and open your mouth slightly more. It makes your words clearer instantly. Ever find yourself giving one-sentence answers and seeing the examiner waiting for more? Happens all the time.
This one's easy to fix. Just add a little detail. Ask yourself, why, when, who. For example, if they ask about a favorite place, don't just say, the park. Say, why you like it, who you go with, or when you last visited.
It makes your answers richer, and it gives you more time to show off your English. Plus, you'll sound way more confident.
Let's talk nerves. Probably the most painful is freezing up when you forget a word or feel lost. Total panic, the mind goes blank.
Seriously, we've all been there. But here's a quick fix. Use fillers. Say, "That's an interesting question," or "Let me think for a moment." It buys you time and shows you can keep the conversation going.
The examiner actually likes it they see you're thinking, not just shutting down. So next time you blank, don't panic. Just fill the silence for a beat.
I've always wondered, why do so many students fall into the memorization trap in the first place? It's everywhere.
Honestly, it's fear. They're scared of making mistakes, so they think memorizing a perfect script is safer. But it backfires.
Totally. The examiner can instantly tell it's not your real voice. It's like wearing someone else's shoes, they just don't fit.
The courage to be imperfect actually gets you a better score. It shows flexibility and real-life communication skills. Another thing, those short, one-liner replies don't just make you look unsure. They also hurt your score for coherence and fluency.
That's why a tiny detail or example makes all the difference. Think of it like handing the examiner a trail to follow. You look confident and engaged.
And honestly, it gives you more opportunities to show the range of your vocabulary and grammar without forcing it.
Funny thing is, I've seen advanced students overthink grammar and actually become less fluent than beginners.
Yes, they get so tangled up in verb tenses and conditionals, they forget to just talk. Natural speech always wins.
Next time you catch yourself hesitating, remember, a smooth, imperfect answer is better than a flawless but awkward pause.
You know, sometimes just adding a tiny phrase like "to be honest" or "actually" can transform an answer from flat to engaging.
It's like seasoning in food. Suddenly, the whole thing comes alive. Examiners notice when you do this well, they can tell you're comfortable using the language.
It's also a clever trick when you need a second to think. You buy time and still sound fluent.
Can we talk about the accent thing for a second? Some students think if they don't sound British or American, they're doomed.
Totally a myth. The only thing examiners care about is understanding you clearly. A strong local accent is fine as long as your words come through clearly.
So trade in the accent stress for a focus on clarity and confidence. Your score will thank you.
One trick that really works? Answer the question, then ask yourself, what else can I share? Even a tiny story or detail counts.
It keeps the conversation going naturally. Plus, you look like you can really express yourself in English, which is exactly what IELTS wants to see. Let's wrap up. If you want a band 7 or higher, remember these 3 things. First, sound natural, memorized answers for your own voice.
Second, always extend your answers, even if it's just a quick reason or example. Third, focus on clarity, not a flawless accent or perfect grammar.
Here's one action step. Next time you practice, record yourself and see if you're making any of these mistakes. Then fix just one per day.
And we'd love to hear from you. Drop your biggest IELTS speaking struggle in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe to English Express for daily English tips. You're closer to Band 7 than you think.